Good morning and welcome to this week's episode of Pastor's Ponderings. I'm going to begin a new series called Crafting Christians. This is an idea I've been working on for a Christian education, discipleship making Sunday school opportunity on Sunday mornings together around our favorite craft and talk about God and love, talk about Jesus, our Savior, talk about discipleship and Christian life. Crafting is an art, a trade, an occupation that requires spatial skills. And in the same way, creating Christians, crafting disciples, crafting our own life in the likeness of Jesus requires that time, effort, and spatial skills at time. So we have to develop those skills and apply them in our lives, help others to discover and develop those skills and apply them in their lives so that we might all continue on the journey towards Christ-like holiness. So what do you consider a craft? As we discussed a couple of weeks ago, gathering together for Sunday school time, we talked about quilting and art. This past Sunday, I asked what some of them were involved in, and some of them were trying some new activities. Drawing was a couple of the youth mentioned drawing, woodworking, plumbing. Our trade was someone's trade was considered a craft because they developed the skills to be able to do it well. So plumbing, woodworking, handyman skills, carpentry, any of those things can be a craft, and so on. In Colossians, it says, "Let the message of Christ dwell among you richly, as you teach and admonish one another with all wisdom through psalms, hymns, and songs from the Spirit, singing to God with gratitude in your hearts." We are to gather together and to share life together, not just life, but our Christian life, our spiritual life, our discipleship life, our church life. In the same way that quilting bees and sewing circles formed around producing clothing, quilts, the necessary items that were needed during that time, socialization took place, sharing took place, discipleship and Christianity took place. People passed on what they knew and what they learned about life, about faith, about hope, and so on. And so the idea of crafting Christian disciples is about gathering together around an activity, a craft, an art, and not only pass those skills along, sewing, quilting, drawing, and so on, and learning from one another, but also passing on what we've learned about God, what we know about God, what our questions still are in our relationship with God, about Christianity, about faith and life itself. So the art of making disciples is to reach each one, give them an opportunity to grow and nurture and mature into Christ-like new creations. That's the goal of each and every one of us. Some of us are at various stages on the journey, and we invite others to come and join us along the way. Every one of us deserves the opportunity to know more about God, to know more about Christ, to experience that in their life and to be developed spiritually. So this is another way of trying to do that. And so for the next several weeks, I don't know if we'll get a dozen weeks or not, we're going to be doing Crafting Christians as our weekly podcast. I'm going to start next week with quilting because that's my favorite craft. And I have a lot to share about that. But we're also going to share thoughts and ideas about making disciples while making our arts and our crafts. So stay tuned each Tuesday. This is posted on the Glendale United Methodist Church Facebook page, as well as my YouTube channel, which is Chris Duckworth. Lack of creativity there. God bless. Peace and blessings to you all.